There is one negative account sitting on your credit report. Maybe it is a collection, maybe a charge-off, maybe a late payment, maybe an account you do not even recognize. And every time you apply for something important, that account feels like it enters the room before you do. The car dealer sees your credit, the mortgage lender sees it, the credit card company sees it, and suddenly you are not negotiating anymore. You are hoping for an approval, hoping the down payment is not ridiculous, hoping the interest rate does not destroy the deal. And that is exactly where I want this video to start, because most people look at a bad credit report and assume they have only two choices: wait 7 years, or pay somebody hundreds of dollars every month and hope they fix it. That is not true. Federal law gives you the right to review your credit reports and dispute information that is inaccurate or incomplete yourself for free. But there is an important word in that sentence: inaccurate. Not negative, not embarrassing, not expensive. Inaccurate, accurate negative information generally cannot simply be removed because you do not like what it is doing to your score. But information that is wrong, incomplete, duplicated, not yours, or cannot be verified through a reasonable investigation is a completely different situation. And once you understand that difference, credit repair becomes much less mysterious. So today I am going to show you the process from beginning to end, how to pull the right reports, how to read them, what actually counts as an error, how disputes work behind the scenes, what documents to send, what happens during the investigation, what to do when something comes back verified, and most importantly, what you should do after the report starts getting cleaner. Because deleting one incorrect account means very little if you immediately go back and destroy the fresh credit profile you just built. But before we touch a dispute letter, you need to understand what you are actually fighting. Most people imagine that they mail a dispute to Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, and somebody sits at a desk with a coffee, reads the entire letter word for word, studies every statement, then personally decides whether you are right. The real system is much more industrial than that. There is a platform called eOscar. It is a real web-based automated system used between credit reporting agencies and companies that furnish credit information. One major function is the Automated Credit Dispute Verification Process, or ACDV, where a bureau can route dispute information to the company reporting the account and receive updated information back. Now, do not misunderstand this. That does not mean a computer is legally allowed to ignore your evidence and randomly press verified. The Fair Credit Reporting Act still requires a reasonable reinvestigation, but it does explain why vague disputes are such a bad strategy. Imagine sending this collection is wrong. Please delete it. Wrong how? Wrong balance, wrong consumer, wrong date, already paid, duplicate account, identity theft, incorrect delinquency. You have given them almost nothing specific to investigate. Compare that with, this account reports a current balance of $3,840 on Experian. But the attached statement from the furnisher dated June 3 shows a balance of $2,140. Please investigate and correct the inaccurate balance. Now there is an actual factual issue. That distinction matters, and we know dispute handling has had serious problems because regulators have taken action over it. In January 2025, the CFPB sued Experian, alleging that the company failed to properly investigate some disputes and improperly handled information that had previously been deleted. Those were allegations in litigation, not a finding that every Experian dispute is mishandled. 10 days later, the CFPB ordered Equifax to pay a $15 million civil penalty after finding problems that included inadequate dispute investigations, failure in some cases to properly consider consumer documents, improper reinsertion of previously deleted inaccuracies, confusing dispute result notices, and other credit reporting problems. So yes, errors happen, systems fail, companies make mistakes, but that does not mean the strategy is to dispute every negative account until something accidentally disappears. The strategy is to know your report better than anyone else does, and that takes us to step 1. Step 1. Pull all 3 reports, not Credit Karma. Not one score from your banking app. Your actual credit reports. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, the official federally authorized website, is Annual Credit Report. Calm and free online reports from the 3 nationwide bureaus are currently available weekly. Pull all 3, save them, if possible, put them side by side, because this is where people make their first mistake. They look at Experian and assume TransUnion and Equifax say exactly the same thing. They may not. One collection may appear on 2 bureaus, but not the 3rd. A balance may be updated on Experian and stale on Equifax. An account may show closed on one report and open on another. A late payment might appear on only one bureau. That does not automatically mean something must be deleted. Different reporting dates can create legitimate differences. But now you know where to look. And I want you to create a simple worksheet. Account name. Account number. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, balance, status, dates, payment history. And then one final column, what exactly is wrong? Do not write bad account. That tells you nothing. Write not mine, wrong balance, wrong late payment, duplicate collection, closed but reported open, wrong date of first delinquency, wrong credit limit. That becomes your battle plan. Step 2. Start with identity information. Before you obsess over collections, look at the top of the report. Your name, addresses, phone numbers, employment information if listed. You might see an old address. That alone is not necessarily a problem. You might see a previous employer. Again, not automatically a problem. But if there is a name that is not yours, an address where you never lived, or other identity information that appears to belong to somebody else, pay attention. The CFPB specifically identifies wrong names, phone numbers, addresses, mixed files, and accounts belonging to another person as common credit report errors. What I do not want you doing is deleting every legitimate old address because somebody online told you old addresses are secret anchor points holding collections on the report. That is not the goal. The goal is accuracy. Remove or correct identity information that is actually wrong. Keep the process factual. Because once you start making claims that are not true, you weaken the strongest thing you have, evidence. Step 3. Audit every negative account now. Go line by line. Start with ownership. Is this actually your account? If it is not yours, that is serious. Maybe there is a mixed file. Maybe identity theft. Maybe another consumer has a similar name, if identity theft is involved. Use the proper identity theft process rather than casually writing "not mine" on legitimate accounts. Next, check account status. Is something reported open even though it was closed? Are you listed as the owner when you were only an authorized user? Is an account marked late when you actually paid on time? Then check dates. Date opened. Date of last payment. Date of delinquency. Payment history months. Then balances and limits. Does the current balance match your records? Does the credit limit? Is the same debt appearing twice? These are not random tricks I made up. The CFPB specifically tells consumers to check for closed accounts reported open, incorrect late payments, wrong dates, duplicate debts, incorrect balances, incorrect limits, accounts that are not theirs, and other incomplete or inaccurate information. Now let us talk about the thing everybody wants removed, a charge-off. A charge-off is serious, but the word charge-off by itself is not a dispute reason. If you really defaulted and the account is accurately reported saying, "Please remove this charge off because it hurts my score," is not a factual dispute. Instead, inspect the reporting. Is the balance right? Are dates correct? Is payment history accurate? Is the ownership correct? Is the same debt being represented incorrectly? Was something updated after a payment? That is the difference between credit repair and credit report roulette. You are not looking for magic words. You are looking for facts. The same applies to collections. Maybe the collection is yours. Maybe it is accurate. Then it may legitimately remain. But maybe you paid it and the balance is wrong. Maybe it belongs to somebody else. Maybe the same debt is duplicated incorrectly. Maybe the dates are inaccurate. Those are actual questions. Late payments work the same way. If you paid 30 days late, you cannot turn an accurate late payment into an error just because you want a mortgage. But if your bank statement shows the payment cleared on time and the creditor reported it late, now we have evidence. That is what you challenge. Step 4. Build the evidence before the letter. This step is boring. It is also where strong disputes are made. Suppose you say the balance is wrong. Show the statement. Suppose the account was closed. Show the closure confirmation if you have it. Suppose the payment was made on time. Show the bank record and creditor statement. Suppose the account is not yours. Gather whatever documents support that position, and if identity theft is involved, follow the federal identity theft reporting process. Your dispute should answer 3 questions. What account? What information is wrong? What evidence supports you? That is it. You do not need a 12-page legal threat. You do not need to quote 20 court cases you do not understand. You do not need to write, "I demand deletion under federal law" within 24 hours. Be clear, be specific, be truthful. The CFPB recommends explaining what you believe is wrong and why, and including copies of supporting documents. It also recommends disputing inaccuracies with both the credit reporting company and the company that furnished the information. That second part is important. If Bank ABC is reporting an incorrect late payment to Experian, you can dispute with Experian. But you can also dispute the inaccurate information directly with Bank ABC. Why? Because the Bureau holds the report. The furnisher supplied the data. You want the problem addressed at both ends. Step 5. Send the dispute. You can generally dispute through the Bureau's available channels, including online or by mail. If you mail it, keep copies of everything. Your letter. Supporting evidence. The report page showing the disputed information. Any identity documents required to establish who you are. And proof of mailing or delivery if you choose a trackable method. Do not send original documents you cannot replace. And do not make the dispute confusing. One sentence explaining the problem clearly can be stronger than 5 paragraphs of angry legal language. Now the clock starts. Credit reporting agencies generally have 30 days to investigate a dispute, although some situations can extend the process to 45 days. The CFPB's current complaint notice specifically tells consumers that CRA disputes generally require 30 to 45 days and says not to escalate an inaccurate information complaint to the CFPB while the CRA dispute is still pending or before the required timing conditions are met. So stop checking the report every 6 hours. Track the date. Save your documentation. Wait for the result. Step 6. Read the result. Do not just look for deleted 30 days later. Maybe you get a result. Account deleted. Great, but maybe it says updated. That can also be a win. If the incorrect balance went from $6,400 to $0, correction was the objective. If the late payment was corrected from late to on time, correction was the objective. If the account belongs to you and the only error was a wrong limit, you should not expect the entire history to disappear just because one field was wrong. The law is about accurate reporting, not automatic deletion as punishment for every mistake, and sometimes you get the response everyone hates. Verified. Now do not immediately copy the same dispute, change the font, and mail it again. This is where a lot of people waste 6 months. Ask yourself, did they address the actual error? Did I provide enough evidence? Do I now have new evidence? Is there another genuine inaccuracy I did not raise the first time? Was the item updated but still wrong? If you have meaningful additional information, then a follow-up dispute may make sense. If you simply keep sending substantially the same unsupported dispute, a credit reporting company can determine a dispute is frivolous or irrelevant. Credit repair is not round 1, round 2, round 3, round 17. Until the Bureau gets tired and deletes your mortgage. That is internet mythology. A second round should have a reason. New documentation. A different legitimate reporting error. A failure to address the original evidence. Something real. And if the dispute has concluded and you still believe the reporting company failed to properly address inaccurate or incomplete information, there are additional rights and escalation routes. The CFPB says consumers should first complete the CRA dispute process before using its complaint process for inaccurate or incomplete credit report information. Why this can be worth thousands of dollars now, I want to show you why all this boring paperwork matters. Not because a 700 looks better on Instagram than a 580. Because credit can have a price. Experian's Q1 2026 data shows average used car APRs of 6.30% for super prime borrowers, 8,077% for prime, 14,003% for near prime, 19,042% for subprime, and 21.77% for deep subprime borrowers. Those are averages, not guaranteed offers, and lenders also consider factors beyond the score. Now take a hypothetical $30,000 used car loan for 5 years. At 30%, the payment is about $584 per month, and total interest is roughly $5,051. At 21.77%, the payment is about $825 per month, and total interest roughly $19,470. Same $30,000 borrowed. Same 60 months. Difference in interest more than $14,000. That is why I keep saying bad approval can be worse than a denial. Because somebody with damaged credit celebrates, they approved me. But approval is only the first question. What APR? How long? What fees? How much down? What is the total cost? Bad credit asks, can you get me approved? Strong credit asks, can you beat my bank? Do not chase approvals. Prepare for approvals. Step 7. Removing errors is only half of credit repair. This might be the most important section of the video. Imagine we correct 2 legitimate errors. Your report looks better. Then you continue using $9,000 of a $10,000 credit card limit. You miss another payment. You apply for 5 cards in 3 weeks. What exactly did we repair? The past improved. The present immediately replaced it. For FICO scores generally, payment history represents about 35% of the calculation and amounts owed about 30%. Although the importance can vary depending on the individual credit profile, new credit, age of accounts, and credit mix also matter. So once the inaccurate information is addressed, shift into rebuilding mode. Protect every payment. Auto-pay at least the minimum as a backup. Then manually pay more when your plan calls for it. Bring revolving balances down. Do not max cards just because you have the limit. Stop opening accounts you do not need. The CFPB specifically warns that frequently opening accounts and using a high percentage of available revolving credit can hurt scores. And understand something else. Income is great. But a raise does not automatically erase bad credit history. You can make $100,000 a year and still have a damaged report. The lender can like your income and dislike your credit profile at the same time. Income tells them money is coming in. Credit history helps tell them what happened when somebody expected money to go back out. You need both sides working together. What about secondary consumer reporting companies? You may hear another strategy online. Freeze every secondary bureau before disputing so nobody can verify the negative accounts. Be careful with that. There are many consumer reporting companies beyond Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and the CFPB maintains a list covering companies that specialize in different types of consumer reports. Freezing a consumer reporting file can be useful for security and identity theft protection. But a freeze is not a magic legal trick that makes accurate debts unverifiable. Do not build your credit strategy around trying to sabotage legitimate verification. If a specialty report contains inaccurate information about you, get the report when available and dispute the actual inaccuracy. Same rule. Accuracy first. What about hard inquiries? Another huge topic. If you recognize a hard inquiry from an application you actually made, do not call it fraud just because you changed your mind afterward. If there is an inquiry from a company you genuinely never authorized and you believe your identity may have been used, investigate it. There is a massive difference between, "I do not remember this," and "I know I never authorized this." Check before you make the claim. Because legitimate credit repair does not require you to lie. Your 2026 credit repair checklist. So now imagine your report is sitting in front of you. 11 negative items. It looks overwhelming. Do not treat it like 11 emergencies. Take account number 1. Is it yours? Yes. Is the balance accurate? Yes. Are the dates accurate? Yes. Payment history accurate? Unfortunately, yes. Then that account may simply be accurate negative information. Move on. Account 2. Not yours. Flag it. Account 3. Reported late in April. Bank statement shows payment made before the due date. Flag it. Account 4. Closed 3 years ago. Still reported open. Flag it. Account 5. Collection appears twice in a way that looks like the same debt being duplicated. Flag it. Now the report is not an emotional disaster anymore. It is a data audit. That shift matters. You went from, "My credit is horrible," to, "I have 4 specific reporting problems I need investigated." That is manageable. And this is why nobody should know your report better than you do. Because your score is 3 digits, your report is the story underneath them. The final rule, I want you to remember one sentence from this entire video. Do not dispute negative information. Dispute inaccurate information. That one distinction can save you months of nonsense. If the late payment is wrong, challenge it. If the collection is not yours, challenge it. If the balance is inaccurate, challenge it. If the same debt is improperly duplicated, challenge it. If the account is accurately reporting something you actually did, stop looking for a magic deletion phrase. Start building new positive history. Because real credit repair is not pretending the past never happened. It is making sure your report does not punish you for things that did not happen. Then you make the rest of the profile stronger, lower the balances, protect the payments, stop applying blindly, build savings so every emergency does not land back on the cards, and before you apply for the next car, mortgage, personal loan, or premium card, review the reports first. Do not wait until the dealer says, "Good news, we got you approved at 19%. Fix the credit first." Then shop for the car. Because the goal was never just to get approved. The goal is to become the person who has enough credit strength, enough information, and enough options to walk away from a bad approval. That is when the game changes. Bad credit makes you chase approvals. Strong credit makes approvals chase you. And it starts with something incredibly boring. 3 credit reports. 1 account at a time. 1 factual error at a time. 1 piece of evidence at a time. No fake fraud. No magic loopholes. No endless dispute rounds. Just an accurate report and stronger habits behind it. That is how you actually take control of your credit in 2026. And once the report is clean, your next job is learning how to use that stronger profile without destroying it again. Because the card is not the flex. The approval power behind the card is the real flex.